And we're going to go back to looking at the French newspapers now. Flo's joining us here on set, still reeling, of course, from the Charlie Hebdo massacre and looking at what lies ahead for France as well, the papers now.
That's right. Sunday was such an incredible day here in France. There was this incredible, unprecedented show of unity, a historic day where French people defended the values that they have in common. It was moving, almost euphoric, but now what? And this is what La Croix is wondering. What about tomorrow? How can we maintain this feeling of hope, all the while fixing the problems that have been brought to light by the Charlie massacre? Because what has become clear in the wake of this tragedy is that French society needs to find new answers to the challenges that are fighting terrorism, all the while promoting national unity. And La Croix says that French society is staring at itself clearly in the face, and it needs to decide what kind of future does it want.
And according to Le Parisien, the future really starts now. That's what they're saying.
That's right. Starts today, in fact. Aujourd'hui en France, if we take a look at their front page, the question is, et maintenant, now what? And in its editorial, Le Parisien says this is an opportunity for France as a society to take a deep breath of fresh air, un nouveau souffle. We can start a new chapter, according to Le Parisien, but it's tricky. We have to transform this incredible wave of emotion, this unprecedented feeling of brotherhood and unity into a positive force of change. This is a very important moment for France. And Les Echos agrees with this. That's the business paper. In their editorial, they wonder, what do these millions of Charlies, what do they want? Now, it's tricky because we have all these people that took to the streets marching in unity, but not behind a single banner or a slogan. The next day, as says Les Echos, it's actually going to take several days to build. We're feeling around in the dark, taking baby steps, but we are moving forward.
Now, in the immediate future, people from right across the political spectrum agreeing that the priority really is to increase security here in France. They certainly seem to be trying to do that, don't
That's
they?
right. That's a major angle in the papers today. Libération says that the Charlie attacks clearly brought to light fault lines in France's security policy, and those need to be fixed, but not everybody agrees on how to do that, what measures need to be put in place, because after all, individual freedoms are at stake here. Now, Libération reminds readers that on January 1st, a whole new arsenal of anti-terrorism laws came into place, and this gives police a broader surveillance power, but the right says that's not enough. They're calling for more measures to be put in place, something along the lines of a French Patriot Act.
And indeed, the right-leaning paper, Le Figaro, they're exploring how France should react to the threat that it's facing.
That's right. That's their leading story today. They wonder, what is the best response to terrorism? And Le Figaro applauds the fact that 10,000 troops have been deployed across the country to boost security, including in front of our offices here at France 24. But in its editorial, Le Figaro says that's not enough. We need to go back to the drawing board, tout revoir, and not just with respect to simple security measures or police or justice. National education is also concerned by what's happening today. Le Figaro says it's important to teach young French people the values of our republic and make them respect it in a very strong way. And Le Figaro goes even further. It says it's necessary to organize Islam in France, although it doesn't really go into much detail about what it means by that.
Now, on top of those 10,000 troops, we've got nearly 5,000 police officers also involved, all, a lot of them anyway, protecting the 717 Jewish schools and synagogues out there in France.
Absolutely. That's the focus of Libération today. They take a closer look at the Jewish population. You can see here they're talking about la peur mais l'espoir. That means fear, but also hope. And in its editorial, Libération says that French Jews are really applauding this unprecedented wave of solidarity that's coming from France, from the French government, from society. And Libé says there is a national urgency to dissipate this stress and angst that's being felt by French Jews. We need to show that we're all part of the same alliance.
And finally, a word on Charlie Hebdo, of course, the satirical magazine. It's set to publish its post-attack issue tomorrow, in fact. It's already, though, given readers a bit of a sneak peek of its front page, hasn't it?
That's right. This was tweeted, actually. Let's take a look at it. You can see that Charlie Hebdo is staying very true to its nature, controversial and defiant. What you see here is the front page of Charlie Hebdo that will be released tomorrow, so 1 week exactly after the attack. What you can see here is a caricature of the Prophet Muhammad holding up a sign, Je suis Charlie, this slogan that has emerged in the wake of the attack. What you can see on the top there is Tout est pardonné. Everything is forgiven. There's a lot of debate as to who is forgiving who, though, after this front page has come out.
Slightly confusing, actually.
Slight confusing, exactly. Now, the surviving staff have actually been working out of the office of Libération, the left-leaning paper, because their office is still a crime scene. Lots of papers are reporting on how they have made this issue, this in the wake of this tragedy. It's been incredibly emotional for all of them. They don't want to just mourn the cartoonists that died, Charbes, Cabu, Wolinski, Tues, these heroes in France. They also want to continue doing what they really do best, which is poking fun at everybody. So they're going to be poking fun at radical Islam. They're also going to be poking fun at their newfound friends, because let's not forget that before the tragedy, lots of people were very critical of Charlie Hebdo, and in the wake of the tragedy, they've come out in support of Charlie Hebdo. Now, what's interesting is that instead of its normal print run, which is about 40,000 a week, the magazine is going to publish 3 million copies. Wow. And what's also interesting is it's going to be published in 16 languages, including Arabic. So they're actually calling it not just the French Charlie Hebdo, it's the international edition of Charlie Hebdo, and it will be. Well, I'm going to have to fight to keep my copy, I know. I'm not going to leave it lying around.
No, exactly. I think there'll be quite a few copies fluttering around. I read an interview, in fact, with one of those who's been involved in putting it together. It must have been incredibly difficult to do, but obviously they said it's just something for us to do, to take our minds off what's happened, in fact.
Absolutely. And they want to stay true to the nature, stay very controversial. That's what they do best. So, well, I'm sure I'm going to be very interested to read it tomorrow.
To read it, exactly. All right. Well, of course, we'll have coverage of that as it comes out tomorrow morning. Flo will be digesting it for us. Thanks a lot, Flo. Flo Vilmeno, of course, with the French papers.